Previously on Funny Science Fiction.
Ex-football coach of a Jedi Knight. You know what I mean? There were a lot of very unique things about that story.
A blinded Jedi Knight, nonetheless.
Yeah, right. That's what I like to do. I like to blind Jedi.
Hi, this is Liz Vassey, aka Captain Liberty. Welcome to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
The podcast where we use all five of our senses, but typically we rely on our non-senses. So our guest today is a veteran actress you've seen both in live versions of The Tick, but also in shows like CSI, which stands for Crime Scene Investigation, in case you didn't know. There's also Star Trek, Next Generation, Quantum Leap, Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, and that's just a few of the places where you will have had an opportunity to have witnessed her work. So we are so very happy and honored today to welcome Liz Vassey to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited. This is going to be great.
I'm excited.
Yay, us. So, so Liz, the first place I recall seeing you on anything, and we talked about this a little bit before off camera, was the first live action run for The Tick as Captain Liberty, always forever being chased by Batmanuel. And I love that live action run. We watched it faithfully, all 9 episodes. We went out and bought, like I said, we went out and bought the DVD. When it came out, we watched it over and over again. Now I have digital copies of it. I still watch it. I still think it's funny. I think no indifference to Peter Serafinowicz. I will never get that name right. My apologies, Peter, who's a fantastic Tick, but he's no Patrick Warburton. I thought Patrick was absolutely perfect in that role. But being that this was from what I could tell, was your first run on any type of superhero style show, how did you prepare for that role versus some of the other roles that you had in the past? Was there any difference in approach, or did you look at it and go, well, it's a superhero role, so I kind of have to know some of the history of it?
God, a couple things. First of all, I was obsessed with superheroes growing up. So I was a young girl in the South who was obsessed with Matchbox cars, sports, superheroes, all kinds of geekery, which made me very popular, as you can imagine. So I didn't really have to prepare in the superhero world because I was obsessed with comic books anyway. And I'd seen the Tick animated series. And I also had done a series with Barry Sonnenfeld and Barry Josephson, who were producing the Tick. I'd done a series prior to that called Maximum Bob. So I sort of knew the whole team. I knew Patrick Warburton from an episode of, what did we do? We met both guest starring on Murphy Brown. And we met on that. I think we met on Grapevine. We'd met a million years before that several times. And so basically it was just sort of walking into the audition process going, oh, I know everybody in here, except for Ben Edlund, who I was a little starstruck to meet because he's Ben Edlund. But I just, the main thing was the costume fitting. That was the bigger thing, because normally you go into wardrobe and you have jeans, t-shirts and everything, and this suddenly was a whole ordeal, more so for Patrick, obviously, by tenfold, but you just go in again and again and again because you have one friggin' outfit, so right. It has to be perfect. So that was the bigger difference. And the other funny thing was, normally sitting around on sets for 16 hours, you get in conversations that sometimes get a little deep, life, death, family thing. And you can't do that while you have a cape on. Like, we would try and have discussions, and then we'd look at each other and go, this is ridiculous. It kept everything really light and fun. But, as far as prep, the other thing was Captain Liberty didn't exist in any prior incarnation of the Tick. It was before the live action. So it was basically whatever we wanted to make her. It wasn't that there was a template for me to look at, which was actually pretty freeing.
Well, that's kind of cool. I knew that she wasn't in anything previous, but that would make sense that would actually kind of give you the, pardon the pun, liberty to do what you needed to with the. I'm sorry, I'm a dad. They just kind of.
Dad jokes run deep in this show.
I can't stop them. I try. I do.
I understand.
So half the time I'm just sitting here like, come back, pretty words, but so yeah. Somebody else save me. I'm doing horrible here.
Oh no,
Somebody
we're
else-
just gonna let you keep going. This is
It gave
good.
me some. It gave me some, as you said, liberty, and that was nice. And the same goes for Nestor. I mean, Nestor, he didn't really have anything to look at for Batman well, and he was of course genius. And Nestor and I had known each other before too. I had done a series called Brotherly Love with Joey Lawrence and his two brothers.
Oh yeah.
And Nestor played my boyfriend on an episode. So
Okay.
yeah, like I said, I mean, going into this was just really easy because we all kind of knew each other and liked each other.
Yeah, Nestor kills me on that show every single time.
He's perfect.
He
killed us too. I mean, it was really, you should see the outtakes. It was really hard to get for a scene with him. Really hard. Just no matter what he did, he was funny. And then to watch him on Lost, I was so impressed because I'd only seen him in comedies. I'd never really seen him do anything that dramatic. I mean, and now he's directing. He's kind of, he's probably a robot. I'm not certain he's human.
I think there's multiples of him.
Yeah, maybe. Very possibly.
So I know that Tim is going to go down the tick rabbit hole pretty hard because that's where Tim's interest is. Honestly, when Tim said, "Hey, we get to talk to Liz Vassey," I'm like, I know that name. Why do I know that name? And I'm looking, and I'm like, because she's Wendy from CSI. It's like, of course that's who this is. And then scrolling through your IMDb, I'm like, oh, and I know her from ER and Diagnosis Murder and all of these other little roles that you have. That CSI is not a sci-fi show, but they got to use some pretty cool scientific equipment to solve crimes in that show. So I know that the television science isn't real, but did you learn anything cool on your run on CSI?
Oh yeah, I mean, I did because they allowed me. I wrote an episode with Wally Langham, who played Hodges, and before we wrote it, they sent us on a ride along with the real CSI. So separately. So, and I'm obsessed with all of that. Like honestly, if I could be a real CSI, I would seriously consider it. I met the real ones. I watched 3 autopsies. I went into crime scenes. I took fingerprints. I learned a lot. Like I can take that fingerprint tape and I can take a piece off that. It was so cool. I mean, I look like a cowgirl. I just, so, you do learn some things. You learn which parts are done for television and have nothing to do with any part of reality. Like when I went to the CSI place in Vegas, the actual CSIs had a poster of the cast of CSI next to their real CSI office. And it's hysterical, because you have Mark Helgenberger and then,
of course.
And the real ones are wearing hairnets and, they're covered head to toe in sort of smocks. And, so it's just, there are no high heels in the real CSI land.
No, there's a lot of PPE, but not.
Exactly. But no, I found the whole thing fascinating. I just respect them so much and respect what they do so much. And the biggest thing I learned was that they told me a lot of people, I found this fascinating. A lot of people retire and then go back and work part-time because you get so hooked by the puzzle that you can't let it go. So, they just go back and work for free and go back and help with cases and sort of, provide aid to other people so that they can just be part of it again, which I thought was fascinating.
That is so cool.
Do you still watch murder mysteries today? And do you get pretty close to figuring out who did it first? Or?
I am terrible to watch anything like my husband and I sit down and it's so sad. We'll watch something on Netflix and I'll pause it and I'll be like, they have 7 alleles in common. I mean, my God, if they have 7 alleles in common, you know what that is. He's a cameraman, so he's no better because then he'll pause it and be like, do you see the light? Do you see the light? So we to each other. It takes us 7.5 hours to watch an hour television program, but
I can only imagine after working in television how hard it would be to watch a television show to see even the editing mistakes with how did they miss that? It's like
yes, but it's also given me so much more respect. I've actually segued into writing now for the last several years, and now with the benefit of knowing the gauntlet that you have to go through to get a pilot on the air and knowing exactly what goes into it. Now I look back at all those pilot seasons going and reading for them as an actor. And I mean, not that I wasn't respectful of their work, I was, but I didn't know what they did to get there. By the time they're casting these shows, I mean, it's been so many months and so many notes and so many, it's just so many hoops. And so it's sort of the same thing now. I mean, I've been in this business since I was a child. It's been 107 years that I've spent in this business, and I watch. And now every year I just have more and more respect for people having the gumption to put themselves out there and try to make something. So you'd think that you become more judgmental, and in reality you become far less, because you're just like, oh, they made it. They did
it.
Yeah. And so, you know, my husband and I both get we're just very proud of people when we watch these, because they did it. They made something, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked to a couple of stunt actresses who've done they struggle with watching things now, because they're like, oh, and that's me, and then that's the actor, and then oh, I can see where the stunt double changed. And it's like, and I feel like it would almost break the illusion to an extent after being in it for so long. But I like that you realize that you've seen how much more respect you have for it. Like, that's actually really, that's commendable to me, that you're looking at it with the, hey, look at what the cool thing they did.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there are other things too. Like, it's funny, I can always tell, or I think I can always tell, but I you know, later they talk about it sometimes in interviews, and I'm right a lot of the time. I love to pick out the first scene that an actor shot in a project, because I can usually tell if their hair looks a little bit different than it does in the whole rest of the show, because it was sort of a test run in that first scene. Makeup probably looks a little different, and the performance is slightly different. Like, they got that little bit of nerve, like a little bit of nerve is going on there. And I know, because I can tell in my own. I watch things that I can always pick out my first scene and go, oh,
there's the anxiety.
Yeah, you know, you sort of see it. So I play that with my husband all the time. I'll just go, what do you think was the first scene? And I can usually kind of tell. So it's a useless talent, but you know,
it makes for good trivia night.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for finding the positive.
I think it would be fun to watch TV with you guys and just.
Well, it's also fun. My husband started really young as a cameraman, and so between the two of us, I mean, he's done mostly movies and I've done mostly TV, but between the two of us, it's also kind of a pain in the butt, because, you know, we'll pause something and be like, oh, the gaffer from this was the best boy Grip's friend's cousin of the DPs of the, yeah, okay. So, you know.
Mother's father's roommate.
Exactly. So it'd either be really fun, or if you turned it into a drinking game, you'd have no functioning liver and kidneys by the end of the night.
True. Very true.
Every time you pause, you take a shot. Well, he's dead.
Something should not be turned into drinking games.
So we generally all have something that's close to our heart that we are really proud of that we have done. Was there a little known role that you have done that just kind of holds that little special place in your heart?
Without a doubt, it was Maximum Bob. It was a show that I did for ABC in 1998-ish, and Bo Bridges played a judge and played a lawyer. I was 25, and it was my first big role. Barry Sonnenfeld directed the pilot, and it was an Elmore Leonard novel that the show was based on, and we did 7 episodes, including the pilot. Sam Robards was Robards, familiar name. He played the sheriff of the town. Kirsten Warren was in there as the judge's wife. It's an extraordinary cast, extraordinary writers, and we had to get together about a little over 2 years ago, because there were no masks. About a little over 2 years ago with everybody, and we all missed it. Like, to a person, it's been our favorite project. It was a really special show that just sort of worked on all cylinders, and only
Cool.
7 episodes. So, but that's it. I mean, that is my favorite thing that I've acted in was that, definitely.
So what was it why was that your favorite?
A couple things. I mean, I'm an Elmore Leonard fan, so it was really cool from that perspective. It was my first time being quarterback on a show. I'd done a ton of guest stars. I'd been part of ensembles. I'd never been, you know, I was the lawyer who went into this strange town. I was sort of the eyes for the audience, and I was in almost every scene in the pilot, and I'd never done that before. So learning that I could was really important on a personal level. So it did a lot for my self-confidence. And also, like I said, it was an extraordinary group of actors, so we all raised each other's game. I was very lucky to be in their company. I mean, it's hard to suck with Bo Bridges, like, you know, because it's just, you automatically get better just by virtue of the fact that he's in a scene with you.
He's
so
Bo Bridges.
rubs off. Yeah, and a lovely man too. That was the other thing. It was just everybody everybody who was on that show was just a lovely human being who was highly aware that we were all very lucky to be there and be doing that. So it was magic. It was one of the, and I say that we shot in the summer in Miami, Florida. So if I'm praising it, and we're shooting in like 107 humidity, like, 107% humidity, then that it had to be pretty great. So yeah, it was a great show.
All right, excellent. One of the things that, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, but one of the things I always love to ask about is somebody's background and kind of what inspired them and kind of moved them forward throughout their career. So for you, and since we are a sci-fi / superhero fantasy nerd pop show, what were some of your sci-fi and superhero influences? You didn't mention that you were a superhero fan as a young lady, but so some of these things that influenced you as you grew up that have either helped direct you towards the career that you're in, or at least perked your interest in maybe doing something along this line?
I started for a couple reasons. When I was 2, I was very, very sick, and I got out of the hospital, and I'd gone in very gregarious, and I came out very shy. And so being myself in front of a large group of people was not really all that appealing, because I was sort of shell-shocked. And I escaped through superhero and fantasy. So reading superhero, like my father had this collection of Batman comics about that thick. I poured through that thing. I knew every single word. I could tell you everything about Dick Grayson. I know how his parents were lost. There was acid on the ropes. Oh, I read these things over and over again. And partially it was because, you don't become a superhero without going through some challenges. And I think in my kid brain, I watched them go through these horrible things and watch them triumph. And it gave me sort of a perspective of I can try and do that. I can try and triumph too. I just, they meant the world to me growing up. They were sort of friends. And then I started acting though, because I saw my sister in a play and I thought it looked fun. And I asked my mom to drive me to an audition for the next thing that theater company was doing. And she said no, because she was terrified to watch me get up on stage and just tank it. Because like I said, I was extremely shy. So my sister took me, and I got up and I sang, and I ended up playing Oliver and Oliver because they needed a girl to hit the high notes. So I played 3 boys at the beginning of my career. Like this was became a team. And then I actually, as a child, was more comfortable on stage in front of hundreds of people than I was sitting, at a party or something. Or it was a way for me to express myself. So to have everything married by doing the Tick was kind of great, to get to be a superhero, I got an action figure out of it, because the other thing was Star Wars. I was obsessed with Star Wars. I have every single action figure ever made. I have the small ones. I have a lot of the large ones. I have the Darth Vader collector case. I have a land speeder. What you're doing right now is what my husband did on our first date. I'm pretty sure because I was absolutely obsessed.
Okay, so yeah, you are the girl that every nerd boy dreams about. That they're like, God, I hope I can find a nerd girl who likes the nerdy stuff that I like. And your husband, I'm sure, when he walked in and saw that stuff, like, yeah, you're mine. Okay, we're good.
He was very happy. We have them all over. We have this shelf, we call the shelf of oddities, and it's just all these things we've collected over the years. And from traveling, I have every single action figure on the shelf and shelves. And he thinks it's pretty cool. We definitely are a good match.
You have all the Lego.
No, he did a lot of the Lego growing up. So I actually just bought him the new. I ended up buying him a Star Wars Lego set. He's not here. Every Christmas, I'll buy him one. And they just released a rather large one, and so I bought that for him for Christmas.
Whoa,
So,
awesome!
Sitting in my office. And,
nice.
Pretty substantial Christmas present. So yeah.
I so want to see that collection. I can't even tell you how badly. I'm like over here, like, I'm like, she has a Star Wars collection. It's okay. We can concentrate. We'll be fine.
I'd show you, but I don't know you guys well enough to take you into the bedroom. So
no.
Understandable.
We're good.
Thanks.
I'm just saying. It's I want to see it. That doesn't mean I need to be taken to see it. It's just. I know it exists, and that's probably fine.
Actually, on our Christmas tree right now, we have. We always laugh about it because we have stormtroopers. We have a lot of things from Avatar because my husband's actually working on Avatar, and so we have little gifts that we've gotten for. So
That's
we have
cool.
we have a very sci-fi sort of oddly bloody and violent Christmas tree. There's an alien,
See, I love that
Awesome.
Tim's like freaking out about your collection, and I'm sitting here with the she's the nerd girl all the other nerd girls look up to. Like,
boy, where were you guys in Tampa, Florida? I could have used you during high school. I'll tell you that much. But I'm glad the nerds finally,
Michigan.
Yeah.
Freezing our butt offs in the snow, but yeah, Michigan. So
with the age difference, I wasn't born yet.
Fair enough.
I mean, mostly now I just collect Funko Pops. That's where most of my Star Wars collection comes in now. But I do have one of these.
Oh,
So cute.
So
that's the greatest thing.
So.
I wish they'd made Pops from the first live action. I really would have.
I'd have them all if they did. Yeah.
I did get a Lego of myself.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's an original. Somebody created it, but we managed to track it down. So I have a little Lego Captain Libby on my shelf, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
really
That's still really cool.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to have their own action figure.
I'm telling you, I'm highly aware of that. It really was. I mean, it probably Emmy action figure. Like it just meant a lot. But a funny story, they sent me a template when they were making it, and they sent me this. The first thing they sent me was a sort of cast of it, and they said, we want your notes. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. They're asking me what I think. So I unwrapped it. It was basically Patrick Warburton's face with long hair. So I wrote, and I said, I mean, it doesn't look like me. I understand it won't be, but this is Patrick. It looks like Patrick. And the other thing was that they gave her the gigantic butt thigh region, like huge, like oddly huge. So I wrote back and I went, can we just, I mean, it's odd. And so I have a note from them that basically says, due to your concerns, we have decided to shrink your posterior and thigh region. It just made me laugh. That was easy.
So what you're saying is the doll was a mashup of Patrick Warburton and J-Lo. Okay.
It was a good butt thigh region. It just wasn't mine. And it's
yeah.
And Patrick has a great face. It just doesn't really jive.
It's not yours.
Yeah. So it was a very funny first attempt.
Nice.
See, but now I'm just picturing Patrick with a giant ghetto booty. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much what it was, with long hair and a star. That was it.
My brain can't unsee that now.
He got a plush toy that you pull and it says spoon. So he got a little tick like made after him. It was him.
That's cool.
Yeah. But he deserved it. He had to wear that costume all the time, so it's okay. He can get a plush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite the costume.
There are people on Etsy now who will make you your own Funko of you. It's like $150, and they'll make the Funko. They'll paint it. They'll do up the box however you want them to do it, and so you can get a Funko with a box for you. So like for us, one of our show logos, I made it so there's 3 little Funkos. Our little avatars are of each of us as a Funko, and I made it on Funko's website. And I've been toying around with the idea of getting myself made as a Funko because I collect them, and it would just be kind of cool to have my own. It's the closest I'm ever going to get to having my own Kung Fu Grip action figure. So
Yeah, why haven't you done it already?
Kids are expensive, and
I understand, but pass up the Starbucks or whatever you got to pass up every day. Put a little away every day, and you got to be a pop.
It's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming.
Good. I'm happy.
We could just start a GoFundMe, turn me into a pop.
Pop me.
That's a dream that's got to be realized.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Good.
So, Liz, we've had a chance to talk to a few actors that have also appeared on Star Trek at some point in their career. We got to talk to Robin Curtis, Armin Shimmerman, and Jeremy Roberts.
Love Armin.
Oh, I know. He's amazing.
He and his wife Kitty are just. I mean,
They're wonderful.
Not words to talk about. They're some of my favorite people. I love them.
Our interview with him was so spectacular. He was so sweet. It was amazing to get to talk to him because I grew up watching Deep Space Nine, and so I'm sitting there the whole time completely geeking out about the fact that I'm talking to Quark, and he's so down to earth and so chill, and it was fantastic to talk to him.
Yeah.
And so again, when I scrolled through your IMDb and I'm like, hey, she was on Next Gen. I forgot she was on Next Gen. I mean, it's one episode, but you got to be on the Enterprise. So what do you remember about your experience being on the Enterprise, even if it was as an amnesiac in a bathing suit?
Yeah, seriously. Well, I remember that the line was, I'm just a patient in a bathing suit. What am I doing here? Because they'd taken away the memory of the ship. So I do remember my line. It was my second job in Los Angeles, I think. So I was excited that it was Star Trek. I was more excited to be working. I was excited because it was Paramount, and you go on the Paramount lot, and there's so much history on that lot. And I had done a soap opera for 2 years in New York, which is a very fun experience. It's very different from walking on a studio lot like Paramount and going, wow. I mean, it was really great. I remember that they served me breakfast, and I'd never had that happen before. So somebody brought me oatmeal, and I was like, this is the coolest thing. And I remember Gates McFadden. That was a pretty cool thing. That was pretty excellent. And yeah, the cast was really cool. I just got to meet some of the people. I didn't get to meet a lot of them because it was only about a scene and a half. I went to 4 fittings for that bathing suit, which cracks me up because of how small the part was. But mostly it was just a very kind set. It was a very kind professional set, and probably one of the things that I'm asked about most, just because of so much love for the Star Trek community. I mean, I'm invited to go to Vegas to go to some of these conventions, and that also cracks me up because I did 1-2 scenes in it tops, and it's really that group of fandom is dear to my heart. I'm just impressed with them as human beings, and just the whole idea and inclusivity of Star Trek, I think, is a really beautiful thing. So I'm happy to be a tiny part in that world.
That's really cool. I mean, not everybody gets to say that they were part of the Star Trek universe. Like that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think I remember my sister's boyfriend at the time was a Trekkie, and I'd done other work before then, and he didn't care. But that one, like suddenly, that and I had made it. He was.
Oh,
great.
now I'm cool.
Now I'm cool. But I've gotten to know a lot of the cast members just mostly through Armin and Kitty. I've met a lot of people that were on Star Trek, and to a person, they've just been so lovely, like really just great people. So, and I loved the original. I mean, we did a send-off of it on CSI. We did a whole thing about fan conventions. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was really fun. They called it Ask Request, and it was written by a couple writers from Battlestar. So it was very respectful of the fans. And it's one of the things that we heard back from that episode was thank you for not talking down about this, for not talking down about conventions, for not, because we all went in with respect, and we know that it comes out of love. So we tried to put that into the episode. I say we, I just said the words they wrote for me, but the writers, Narain Shankar was a big part of that too, one of our EPs on CSI. That was super fun, and I got to watch a lot of the old Star Treks over again so that I could sort of base some of the fantasy sequences on that. And it was really great. It was really great.
I loved that episode. I loved as a nerd, I'm like, yay! And it was that sort of like you said, the realizing, no, you're respecting us. You're not making fun of Comic-Cons. You're not making fun of the nerds who go in cosplay. You're showing homage to us in a way. It was really cool.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think we all felt that way. And speaking for myself, I mean, I've gone to cons before, and I've seen people dressed up as Captain Liberty, and it's an honor. It's really sweet. And I just love it. Like sometimes they walk along with a Batman well, and it's just the greatest thing. It's
that's so cool.
Trying to make that costume. It's really cool.
So Liz, you, according to the internet, you also run a company called Neurosis to a T. Yes?
I did.
Did.
Yeah, a t-shirt company.
Okay. Could you tell us a little more about that, and how did that idea come about?
Yeah, I'm not good with any wasted time. It's hard for me to not be doing something a lot of the time. And so back in my dating days, Kristen Bauer and I used to hang out a lot. She's Pam on True Blood. She's been in a million things. She's wonderful. And we used to hang out. And when we were dating, I said, wouldn't it be great if the men that we were going out with would just come up and have their neuroses written right there on their shirts, because it would save so much time. And I was like, and then we could also, quid pro quo, we could do it back. Like we could just put our neuroses right out there, because then it wouldn't be date 4 when we decided that we weren't meant to be. We could just know and like see each other and go, see ya. So I made one as a joke for each of my sisters. Kristen made one for herself, and a friend of mine, I made her one that said, I use big words to impress people. So we just basically took everybody's neuroses. And Kristen and I went to a premiere and wore our t-shirts, and people started saying, where can we buy them? And we were like, we'll sell them. How hard could it be? And then we became like Lucy and Ethel in the Chocolate Factory, because we rented office space. And then we got a lot of attention once we started selling them. And so we got an order for like 250 t-shirts right off the bat. And we were going, oh my God. So we're trying to figure out how to send stuff and how to make the labels and how to do all this. And it got to be crazy. And then we were in 80 stores for a while, which sounds like a massive success story, except for the fact that it's so much money to start up a company like that, we basically broke even by the time we sold it, because it was just nuts. And I'm so happy we did it, because it's so weird to have owned a t-shirt company. It's like such a strange blip, but we both laugh about it. The other thing is, you can't own that as a concept. So shortly after we did it, we started seeing t-shirts everywhere where they would change the sayings just a little bit. So instead of I use big words to impress people, it would be I'm verbose so people respect me, or something like that. And you go, well, you can't go after them. And so suddenly it sort of flooded the market with all these types of t-shirts. Mm-hmm. And not that we were responsible for it, but we helped. And so it got to be, thankfully we both ended up on a series at the same time. And Kristen and I were like, and it's time for somebody else to take this. But it was a fun experience.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just noticed, is that Snoopy behind you?
Oh yeah. That is an artist named Tom Everhart. And I love it because I used to love Peanuts growing up as a kid. And he's the only artist who Charles Schultz allowed to do any of the Peanuts characters. And so I like it because it's a little bit, you're very idealistic as a child, and then you realize certain things are a little skewed. So it kind of stands for that to me. It's like, it's Snoopy, only a little bit.
Nice.
So I love his work. Yeah, we have a couple actually that I love that guy. I think he does really fun stuff.
All right, cool. So you've proven over the years that you've had some pretty cool roles. You've proven yourself as an actress with tremendous range, what you can do, and even though there's a few shows where it was named Nick or Nikki, or there's like a run of them there for a little bit, but we can always look past that. But is there a role out there that you would like to yet be a part of, either as an actress or as a writer, that you think, man, this is something I would love to be involved in?
As far as being an actor, I sing. I started in musical theater, so I would love to do something where I could sing again. I sang on the soap. I actually was part of the reason I even got the role on the soap. I had to sing for it over and over and over again to play the daughter of a singer on All My Children. So it's dear to my heart. So I would really love to get the opportunity to do that. As far as writing, that's coming true right now. I sold a show to NBC a couple months ago, and
awesome.
Oh, it's thank you. I'm thrilled. It's in connection with Mayim Bialik's company.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure it's possible for a human being to be smarter. She's incredible. And Marin Dungy's done a million things, and she signed on to play the lead, and with Warner Brothers. And so it's a project that's sort of loosely based on something that I went through when I lost my mom. And so it's sort of believe it or not, it's a comedy. It's a dark comedy, but it's something that means a lot to me. So to see it realized, like talking to you guys right now, I actually I actually put on some makeup and did my hair because I've had my head in sweats just typing for the last couple days. And I'm surprised I know how to talk right now because I haven't talked to another human being for a very long time. Just been typing, but it's been a joy. So I'm hoping that it airs and gets a life, because so far it's been a joy, and just having somebody say yes to this project is really been great.
Oh, it's really cool.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah.
Sometimes you need that dark humor to get through the struggles too. I've found that to be true in my own life, that sometimes you have to laugh at the pain.
And you do. I think the things that I respond to the most on television and in movies, as dramatic as they are, they always have a slight sense of humor, and as funny as they are, they always have a slight sense of blue. Like even The Tick was very funny. It was a broad comedy, but these were 4 lonely people. Like, they did form a family. This was coming from, like, The Tick was misunderstood. The Tick, there's always I just think there's always a little bit of heart to find in the comedies, and a little bit of fun to find in the dramas. Yeah.
And I mean, even in some of the shows that you've done, I mean, ER was a very dramatic TV show, but then when you search for your name in ER, one of the first pictures that comes up is Noah Wyle looking at your butt.
Right. That was it was really funny. I got that role, and I had done a pilot the night before, and then I had the report to work to recur, or possibly recur, on this brand new show called ER. So I show up, and I'm so tired because I'd shot something the night before. So I show up, and I played, for anybody who hasn't seen the pilot or the first couple episodes of ER, I played somebody who deliberately would hurt herself, but in sort of funny, like I would burn my inner thighs to basically go in and come on to doctors. So I, in the pilot, went in with burnt inner thighs, and Dr. Green had to treat me, and I was telling him how long and strong his fingers are, and it was a very intense scene. But I was so tired that I left that night, and I'm 20 nothing at that point. I think I was 20, 21 maybe, and I left the set, and I was like, oh my God, that was Goose. Like, I didn't know the whole day that I was working with Goose from Top Gun. I was retroactively so starstruck that I thought maybe it's better that I didn't know. And then then they invited me back to go do more, and they said we didn't have a name for the character in the pilot. Is it okay if we call her Liz? Which I thought was funny, because it's like, well, sure. So then I had to go in and come on to Noah Wyle, and we had quite a little romance on that show. That scene made me so nervous. I remember that I was in wardrobe, and first of all, they said, well, we want to put you in a diaphanous dress. Are you okay with that? And again, I'm 20, so I was like, yeah. And then I left. Sure. I immediately went home and looked up diaphanous and went, oh my God, I just said yes to basically a see-through dress. So I didn't even realize. And I thought, well, I mean, how see-through can it be? Because it's TV. Right. So and I did that. And then the next episode, they were like, we're thinking we would love for you to have a rash on your butt. And if we could, and they kept putting off the scene. So I went to work every day. And for 3 or 4 days, they kept going, nope, we'll get to it tomorrow. So I was in a state of, it was 96 hours of pure anxiety for me. Going, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. And Noah was very cool about it, and they cleared the set. And of course, it's TV; they couldn't show much.
Right. I think it's a hip shot on TV, but
yes, but in real life, I just was. Oh.
So it sounds almost like they were doing like, well, she said yes to this. What else can we get her to agree to? Oh, let's try this.
Pick a vocabulary word that's out of any sort of 20-year-old in brain space, and just ask me that way. A diaphanous dress. I mean, sure, yeah, diaphanous. Who was it?
Sure. What does that mean? Is that some sort of designer, right? No.
Oh, I've heard of her.
Very all the time. You mean Fred diaphanous? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Yeah,
definitely.
Their stuff is fantastic. I wear it all the time. Great designer.
So my other question that I have for you today is that I'm speaking for the 3 co-hosts here, that it's no secret that all 3 of us have a little bit of a crush on Nathan Fillion. Nobody's going to deny it. It's Nathan Fillion. How could you try to deny that? And you got to work with him on Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, that he was Captain Hammer, and you were also, you were part of the Evil League of Evil, which I think is so cool. So it's another musical that, I mean, I always say that Tim needs to watch more musicals, and I don't know if this is one Tim appreciates or not yet,
I actually have watched this. Thank you very much.
I am so proud of you. But it was
It's all of 2 in my lifetime. We're doing good.
But it was made during an interesting time in the entertainment industry. So what was it like working on that smaller project during the writer's strike?
It was interesting. I was doing CSI, and one of my favorite writers on there was a guy named Doug Petrie who had written on Buffy. And so Doug is an incredible writer. And so he basically lied to me and said, "Do you want to go do this? Joss Whedon's a big fan of yours." And I went, "Oh." And he said, "It's just come do this little spot." So I go and I go up and I say hi to Joss, and Joss is like, "Nice to meet you." And I realized Joss has no idea who I am. And my friend Doug just did it to get me there. So I had to create like a whole persona for my evil person, which was super fun. So I came up with Fury Leica because I thought hell happened to Fury, like a woman scorned.
Mm-hmm.
So I wore a wedding dress, and the whole backstory was that radioactive doves had pooped on me and given me powers, and I had my bridesmaids with something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Those were their weapons, and I basically would go after and protect women, because I was left at the altar. So none of that came out. It's just Joss wanted us to have backstories. So I met Nathan very briefly there. First of all, I'll tell you, although I'd never say it to his face, he's definitely crush worthy, so you have picked a good one. I did an episode of Castle, and first of all, I walk in on the first day, and he had a Blu-ray of The Tick, and he watched all of them the day before, and he was like, "I really love this show," and he did it just to make me comfortable, which is really nice. And because being a guest star is like trying to search for a table in the cafeteria in middle school, you just like it's nice when they make it easy. So then we're going out to lunch, and lunch starts 6 hours after the beginning of your shooting day. So our shooting day started at like 2:00 in the afternoon that day. So Nathan said, "Do you want to go out to lunch with us? At 8:00 at night." I was like, "Yeah." Well, he forgot. So I'm in my trailer and I was reading, and after lunch, he goes, "How was your lunch?" I was like, "It was lonely, Nathan. It was really, really lonely." And he went, "Oh my God." And he realized he'd completely forgotten about me. So the next day, a motorcycle comes up to my house, yells my name. I go out, and I won't say what it was, but he bought a very nice gift to say he was sorry, which who does that? And it's kind of like, it's crazy. So I've never had a brother, and I really wanted one, and he needs somebody to pick on him. So our entire relationship is basically me saying to him, "Why do you think people like you?" And so texts, they go back and forth, and he says he wants to make a coffee table book out of them because we're horrible to each other. So I would never say that we're close, but we have a very interesting, my husband watches us at parties, and he's like, "You guys are terrible to each other." And it's all done out of mutual respect. He's a very, very funny, good human being. I really enjoyed meeting him.
See, Kathleen, we're not that different.
We're really not. No, Tim and I are at each other's throats like that too. It's just,
we pick on each other horribly.
and it's funny, is my husband and I are like that too. And people will be like, "Are you and John fighting?" It's like, no, this is normal. This is just fun.
She's just the little sister I never wanted, but I ended up with anyway. So
It's a good relationship. For a while,
it really is. It works.
For a while, I went to a party at his house, and he had this gigantic beanbag, and I said, "I want that if you ever get rid of it." So he remembered that, and he texted me when I'm getting rid of it. I said, "Bring it over." So it's huge. I had this gigantic beanbag, and it used to be sitting in the living room, and then we did a little remodeling, and we got rid of the beanbag. But for a while, we had Fillian's beanbag, and which I guess just sounds like the name of a book. I read it when I'm wearing dresses by Fred Diaphanous. I read Fillian's beanbag. It was pretty cool. Like, he's just a very funny, really, really good human being. So again, you've chosen wisely.
It was so funny. We actually just recently talked to Patricia Hallman, and she mentioned that when she was in her guest appearance on Castle, she actually shared a funny story with us that she fell asleep on the morgue table and woke up to everybody gone. She had slept through them filming the scene. And it was the hello?
Oh my God.
So her first experience meeting Nathan Fillion was
In
her
a sheet.
butt naked on a table, wrapped in a sheet, as she's like, "Hello,"
Yeah.
and
It
he came over
has
to
the
talk
big,
to her.
the make
big
up
Y incision.
Y
Oh
incision
my
zipper
God.
on her. Yeah.
That's what the first one of the first times I met my husband, and I met him on a movie. He was a cameraman, and it was a movie, a very very well, I don't know that anybody that's ever seen it. It's Tommy Lee Jones movie, and it's called Cheer Up. It was called Man of the House when we shot it, but he's protecting this gaggle of cheerleaders in the witness protection.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that movie. I've
Yeah.
actually seen that movie.
Well, I played his partner in the first.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen it.
So that's where I met my husband. Was dressed in this nugget-colored outfit, playing a deputy, or I was a Texas Ranger. That's what I was. And I had to get shot. And so one of the first times I remember having a solid conversation with my now husband was when I had a gaping fake bullet wound with fake blood oozing out of my chest on the ground. And, you know, you can't move or the blood will move. And he was the cameraman setting up the shot. And so you just kind of go, hiya, you know.
How's it going?
And now we're married.
So you get shot here often?
No, Patricia had said the same thing about Nathan, that he's just an incredibly generous and incredibly sweet person. She said that because her character in Castle got stabbed with an ice pick in the neck, and so then she was like strapped to the couch so that her dead body didn't move, and he would come and sit on the bloody couch and talk to her, and it's like,
I believe that. I mean, there are people that really understand, and you learn a lot. If you're smart, you learn a lot from them. One of my first jobs when I moved out here was Quantum Leap, and to a person, it's just Scott Bakula is, I mean, he's unbelievable. He is so kind, and it made such an impression on me because I thought, oh, that's what you do when you're in that position. That is how you act. And I got to tell him that recently. I saw him at a restaurant. He remembered me. I met him a million years ago, but I went up and I said, I just want you to know everything kind that I've done on set has been at least partially due to you. I mean,
that's cool.
Annie Potts was another one. I met her on a set, and I've said the same thing to her. She could not have been better. And so now, you know, as you spend more years in the business, hopefully you start looking for opportunities to be that for somebody else, because it makes a huge difference. And Nathan he's one of those people who just gets it.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that you acknowledge that, and that you told the people their influence. I don't think that happens enough in the world where, you know, I've had an opportunity a couple times in life to go talk to people who had big influences on me and thank them for being who they are and what they are. And, you know, I think it's as important for you to be able to say it as it is for them to be able to hear it. So that's really cool. So kudos.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I think we would have a different world if people took the time to notice the good stuff too. You know, like you get in an argument with somebody and people automatically go, "This happens all the time." It's like, no, it doesn't. This happens 1% of the time. You just don't talk about the good that happens 1% of the time. So, you know, it's just something that I try and do in my life, and also just good for these people that made such an impression so many years ago. I mean, it's impressive to get to that level and to keep such strong humanity and sort of empathy to somebody coming into your family. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Liz, we have a Facebook page that has 185,000 members, and it is just filled with memes, and it's memes of this universe mixed with this universe coming together, making funny moments. So what two characters of yours would you like to see come together to be either nemesis or to work together?
Wow. Well, it's gonna have to be Captain Liberty with somebody. I mean, I think Captain Liberty and Wendy Sims would be cool because Wendy would be all over the fact that she's meeting a superhero. And I think that Wendy is smarter than Captain Liberty, but Wendy wouldn't have realized it, and neither would Captain Liberty. So I would like to see them matched up. But then I start thinking, wow, I guess you can get really weird with it. Like I played a mechanic on Brotherly Love, and I think, well, I guess she could be matched up with a superhero, and then she could make a really good vehicle for Captain Liberty, because I would have liked to have had like the Liberty Mobile or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
those two I like because I think it would be really super cool for Captain Liberty to have had. I don't want an invisible jet. I don't want,
it's a giant torch.
Yeah, Oh, yeah, that's what I should have had.
Wow.
That's what it
Where you sit in the handle and the flames come out as afterburners at the end of the torch.
Awesome. See, why didn't we get a season 2?
Because we weren't the writers.
No, that was probably the benefit that we weren't the writers. So
That's a good
All right.
question.
all right, so Liz, we're at a point in the show where we like to run our guests through a little quiz.
Okay.
And so this quiz is called The Years of Liz. So it's all about you and your acting roles. Now, this is according to IMDb. So we all
Okay.
know that IMDb can be inaccurate at
Prompts.
times. I was trying to be nice. So it's 5 questions. They're all multiple choice, and it's all about we're going to give you the name of your show that you were on,
Okay.
and 3 possible years of your that according to IMDb was your first appearance on that show. Okay.
Okay. That's
So-
tough because you shoot it so far ahead of when it airs. So it's interesting because I bet I'll be a year off on a couple of them. But yeah,
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
It might be some trick questions. So out of the 5 questions, if you get 3 of them correct, we want to send you one of these handy dandy I gave to the Red Shirt Widows and Orphan Fund coffee mugs. It's loosely based on things that are Trekish in nature. And I say it that way so we don't get sued. Secondly, if you get 4 questions correct, we'd like to send you the coffee mug. And Nick's going to hold up a book here. There it is, Dances with Aliens. That's the new book by our group founder, Drayton Allen. It's about a man who is a dog, but not a 4-legged dog that goes woof, but a singing, dancing cartoon dog at a theme park. And it's all about how intelligent beings can develop technology to travel all around the cosmos, but not recognize a guy in a dog suit.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then also, Kathleen, we'll send you this book as well. If you're interested, it's called Custodians of the Cosmos. And that's actually the book that started our group off. It's all about a young man who enters something quite like the Star Trek Federation, but not quite like the Star Trek Federation. Wasn't able to make it, so he re-enters as a custodian to boldly clean up after those who boldly just went. So yeah, so that's at 4 questions. And then if you're 4 for 4, we ask you the 5th one just for funsies. However, if you only get 2 of the questions correct, we want to take a picture of you, make a meme out of you, and put it into the group. We call it the fun sequence. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. We'll see how well I know myself.
All right.
All right.
Very good. Go ahead, Nick.
The Man of the House. Was it 2001, 2009, or 2005?
Say the dates again.
2001, 2009, or 2005?
2005.
You were correct.
Yay! Oh, good. At least I haven't missed all of them.
Probably good.
All right. Question number 2. Castle. Is that 2011, 2001, or 2007?
11.
That is correct.
Yay!
2 for 2.
CSI, your first year appearance. Was it 2005, 2001, or 2021?
2005.
Very good.
Correct.
You
Somebody got them all.
You are out of
You
meme
did get a
land,
mug.
and you get a coffee mug.
Yay!
All right. Question number 4. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Uh-oh, this is gonna be hard. Yeah.
1998,
Uh-huh.
2004, or 2008?
2008.
That is correct.
Yeah.
4 for 4. All right,
Yay.
so we'll send you the coffee mug and one copy of each of the books.
Wow, this is great.
And The Tick. Was it 2017, 2001, or 2007?
2001.
Very good. 5 for 5. Hey, you know yourself. Well done.
Did it!
It's so funny when you ask questions like that because I end up going, it really is funny where it fits in your life. And very little has to do with entertainment. I think, well, I got married in 2004, so I had to meet him the year before that. And in 2005, the movie would come out. So yeah, it's just funny what it triggers in your head. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Awesome.
That is cool.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you and what you're doing now?
I am on Twitter more than anything else. So I'm Liz Vassey at Twitter. I do something every Saturday morning called Chatterday that I started during the pandemic, during the lockdown, because I read something about how some ridiculous percentage of our country was alone through it. And I thought, well, let's just make a little thing where we all can chat and ask each other questions. So I'm highly reachable on Saturday mornings through that, because people ask questions and we have little back and forths and talk about some stuff. So Twitter is probably the best place.
Fantastic.
We will definitely link your Twitter account in our episode description so that our viewers can definitely join you for your Saturday chats.
Cool. Very cool. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much for being with us.
And we want to also remind everybody that subscribing, if you haven't already done it by this point of the show, subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to help Funny Science Fiction Podcast to continue to grow and continue to get more amazing guests like Liz Vassey here, so that everyone can have things to enjoy and have some laughs about. So please subscribe. It's going to help us more than we can ever really tell you. And don't forget to sign in on Twitter on Saturday mornings for her Chatterday conversations. And for whatever reason, if you are not happy with the content of our show, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the head of our complaint department, Captain Liberty. Captain Liberty is a no-nonsense superhero who won't take no for an answer when she is seeking out the offending parties, whether it's a criminal or a podcaster who has lost their way. Either way, the offending parties will pay, and they will pay dearly, as long as Bat Manuel can leave her alone.
And now we'll have a car too.
Well, thanks again, Liz.
Thank you very much.
It's been a lot of fun.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you will give Red Shirt Crewman number 36. You'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and joins Captain Liberty in the fight for justice, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has his back and what's left of his spandex.
And speaking of sponsors and show partners, check out this short video from our good friends over at Level Up Lightsabers. Information about Level Up Lightsabers and their online training sessions can be found in the episode description below.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySci-Fi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.